The story of the kids who hacked the CIA sounds untrue, but in 2020, a group of teenage hackers made headlines for breaching the security of some of the world's most powerful institutions, including major tech companies and even US government agencies. Known as part of a collective called the Chuckling Squad, these teenagers proved that even the most secure systems could be vulnerable to exploitation. The incident shocked the cybersecurity community and highlighted how social engineering, rather than sophisticated coding, could topple even the most fortified defenses. The events began in early 2020 when reports emerged of high-profile Twitter accounts being hacked. Among the victims were CEOs of tech giants, celebrities, and even former US President Barack Obama. Tweets from these accounts promoted a Bitcoin scam, asking followers to send cryptocurrency to a wallet with the promise of doubling their money. In just a few hours, the scammers had made over $100,000. It was one of the most brazen and public breaches in internet history, and it turned out to be the work of teenagers. The attack was traced back to Graham Ivan Clark, a 17-year-old from Tampa, Florida, who orchestrated the hack along with a few accomplices. Clark, operating under pseudonyms online, had a history of dabbling in hacking and cryptocurrency schemes. He wasn't alone. His collaborators included Mason Shepard, a 19-year-old from the UK, and Nima Fazeli, a 22-year-old from Orlando, Florida. Together, they exploited vulnerabilities in Twitter's internal systems, gaining access to its administrative tools. What made this hack particularly shocking wasn't just the targets or the scope of the breach, but the method they used. Rather than employing advanced hacking techniques, the group relied heavily on social engineering, a strategy that manipulates people into revealing confidential information. By posing as Twitter employees, they tricked real Twitter staff into sharing credentials that gave them access to the company's internal systems. With these credentials, the hackers were able to bypass security measures and take control of high-profile accounts. They accessed internal dashboards that allowed them to reset passwords and disable multi-factor authentication. In cybersecurity terms, it was a catastrophic failure on Twitter's part, as it revealed glaring weaknesses in their security protocols. The attack unfolded rapidly. Within hours, tweets promoting the Bitcoin scam appeared on accounts belonging to Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Kanye West, and even companies like Apple and Uber. The tweets were all variations of the same message, claiming that the account holder wanted to give back to their community by doubling any Bitcoin sent to a specific address. Despite the obvious red flags, thousands of people fell for the scam, transferring Bitcoin in the hope of receiving double the amount. The hackers reveled in the chaos they caused. On private forums and messaging groups, they bragged about their exploits, sharing screenshots of their access to Twitter's internal tools. But their confidence and recklessness would ultimately lead to their downfall. Law enforcement agencies, including the FBI and the Secret Service, quickly launched an investigation. Given the high-profile nature of the attack, the pressure was immense. The attackers had left a trail of digital breadcrumbs, including IP addresses and cryptocurrency transactions, which made it easier for investigators to track them down. The first arrest came just weeks after the attack. Graham Ivan Clark was taken into custody at his home in Tampa. Despite his age, Clark was identified as the mastermind behind the hack. He faced 30 felony charges, including fraud and identity theft. Authorities described him as a teenager with the skills of a seasoned cybercriminal. Clark's accomplices, Mason Shepard and Nima Fazeli, were also arrested shortly after. Shepard, who went by the online alias J1, was charged with conspiracy to commit wire fraud and money laundering. Fazeli, known as Rolex, faced charges of aiding and abetting the unauthorized access of a computer. The arrest sent shockwaves through the cybersecurity community. The incident highlighted how even major tech companies like Twitter were vulnerable to attacks not through sophisticated malware, but through the human element, employees who could be manipulated into revealing sensitive information. It also underscored the growing threat posed by young hackers many of whom learn their skills online through forums, YouTube tutorials, and trial-and-error experimentation. The fallout from the Twitter hack was significant. The company faced intense scrutiny from regulators and the public. In congressional hearings, Twitter's executives, including CEO Jack Dorsey, were grilled about their security practices and how such a breach could have occurred. The company admitted to lapses in its internal protocols and pledged to strengthen its defenses. Among the measures implemented were stricter access controls, enhanced employee training, and the adoption of zero-trust security models. For the hackers, the consequences were severe. Graham Ivan Clark was tried as a juvenile, but received a 3-year sentence in a juvenile detention center, followed by 3 years of probation. Mason Shepard and Nima Fazeli also faced legal consequences, with Shepard's case being particularly notable due to the international collaboration between US and UK authorities to bring him to justice. The Twitter hack of 2020 wasn't the first time young hackers had made headlines, but it was one of the most impactful. It showed how the combination of social engineering, poor internal security practices, and human error could lead to disastrous consequences. It also served as a wake-up call for companies around the world to take cybersecurity more seriously, not just in terms of technology, but also in educating their employees. The incident also sparked debates about the ethics of hacking and the motivations of young cybercriminals. Many teenage hackers, like those involved in the Twitter breach, start out with curiosity and the desire to test their skills. But without proper guidance, that curiosity can lead to illegal activities. Some cybersecurity experts argue that there should be more programs to channel these talents into ethical hacking and cybersecurity careers. The Twitter hack remains a cautionary tale. It wasn't the result of advanced hacking tools or state-sponsored actors, but of a group of teenagers who exploited human vulnerabilities. It's a reminder that in the digital age, even the most secure systems are only as strong as their weakest link. And sometimes, that link isn't a piece of code, it's a person who can be persuaded to share a password. For the kids who hacked the CIA, or in this case, Twitter, it was a brief moment of notoriety, but their actions left a lasting impact, not just on their own lives, but on the world's understanding of cybersecurity in the modern era.